Neither Better Trades or any of its personnel are registered broker-dealers or investment advisors. I will mention that I consider certain securities or positions to be good candidates for the types of strategies we are discussing or illustrating. Because I consider the securities or positions appropriate to the discussion or for illustration purposes does not mean that I'm telling you to trade the strategies or securities. Keep in mind that we are not providing you with recommendations or personalized advice about your trading activities. The information we are providing is not tailored to any particular individual. Any mention of a particular security is not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold that or any other security or a suggestion that it is suitable for any specific person. Keep in mind that all trading involves a risk of loss, and this will always be the situation regardless of whether we are discussing strategies that are intended to limit risk. Also, Better Trades personnel are not subject to trading restrictions. I and others at Better Trades could have a position in a security or initiate a position in a security at any time.
Hello, and welcome out to another Insights. We're going to do the big guys and see what's coming up this next week. Another week of pretty unexciting opportunities, not too many candidates. So the action of the market's been kind of muted. I mean, it's turned a little bit bullish, but at the same time, like we've talked about in the other stuff, the updates, and the volume is just not very big, which is concerning. Because if it's bullish, then the volume should be pretty solid. So before we get to that, and we'll talk about that more, but I want to start off with a quick quote. Obstacles are things a person sees when he takes his eye off his goal. And when we stop looking at and seeing, having the vision and the dream of what we want our life to be, when we no longer see that picture, it's pretty much the end. So we're going to give up and quit when that happens. So the reality is that we have to keep our eye on the goal. We have to stay focused on the vision and what we want. So keep it bright. And there's going to be days that are tough, and it's going to get dim, and you're going to go, how am I doing this? And you're going to question things. And when they do that, then you got to turn the light up. Make it brighter. Reignite that vision and see what is there. And I've had it happen many times in my trading career. It's challenging. Trading is tough. And so keep that goal in mind and keep it fresh. So with that, let's get to charts. As you can see, again, only 13 this week. Normally we're in the 20 to 30 range. But just not a lot of excitement going on. We're having mostly doji days, and you can see with the chart here, dojis and spinning tops. I mean, out of the last 4 weeks of this chart, there's only 2 big days. So very sideways, very muted action, if you will. So we'll see. I mean, this one right here, we got a bullish, and I think it's about 50-50 as far as bullish versus bearish. But this one had a big breakout yesterday. And then the last candle there, very light volume, very little pullback. So if this bounces back to the upside, there may be an opportunity there. There's only about 3 or 4 points, which isn't much. About 3, actually, not quite 3, for an $88 stock. But if I recall this one, the options are not terribly expensive either. So you might only pay $2 or $3 for it, and get a 40 to 50% rate of return if it bounces and bolts to the upside. We'll see. I can't think of one on this list that I recall looking at that I was terribly excited about. I mean, here's AIG, a nice little inverted head and shoulders, not a big one. $2.50 is all. And it's playing out. It's a little bit above that entry point as of right now. But again, when you look at this, look at the volume. Even the volume moving average line is dropping pretty significantly. And you can see here where it's dropped in the last 4 weeks. It's dropped from 13 million down to basically 9 million. Well, almost 10. So 3 million on 13 million is, what is that, 25%? So the volume, even though the price has gotten somewhat bullish, the volume has dropped off on average 25%. That's even with the big spike day. So it's hard to get excited about a bullish opportunity when the volume is saying that it's bearish. A lot of these other ones are the same. There's APD. We had a big bounce. This is maybe one of the few exceptions, but we had a big bounce with lots of volume, created lots of momentum, and then it kind of settled in. We've got an ascending triangle. But light volume as it kind of rallied back up. But actually, this is for this pattern, this is normal. This is what we want. This one actually I like okay. It's better than most on here. This might be the best one out of all 13. Pause that for a second. I'm still fighting this cough back. I know it's been months now, it seems like. Seems like it's never gone away. But this one still hasn't broken out yet. So if it does, then we could have a good opportunity. And the pattern itself, we're looking for $9. There is some resistance there at 141. So I'm looking at, considering we're ahead of this, I'm looking at the trading plan as a target of 141.16 with the knowledge that we could run another 5 to 6 points above that. So that would be probably a scale out point. Chubb. A little bit above. There we go. I need to scrunch it down. That's what I need to do. A little bit above the entry point. I mean, just barely. Only a few points. Not enough, actually. I mean, that's what, 20 cents, 30 cents, not even. So considering we got about $5 of potential, so I'd fudge it by about 10%, so 50 cents. So we'll see what it does. It's broken out of that high at 118.40. So I am, we'll just be watching this one. Let's put it that way. See what happens. So CCI, I'm going to speed up a little bit because these are all basically the same. This is one that actually looks bearish. The volume stayed pretty steady. It's dropped off the last week and a half, even with the market turning bullish. It's basically neutral when you do the definition of higher highs, higher lows. But we've got some bearish sentiment there. And I think it was this. Yeah, see, we're sitting right on the 50-day. So if it breaks out, we've got the 200-day. It didn't pay attention to it the last couple times, so it may not this time either. But it's starting to turn bearish on CCI, so we'll see what happens if it breaks down. Clorox, very similar picture, where it's double topped. We've got basically this channel we've been in. It kind of broke out about a week ago, and if it drops and challenges it, then if it breaks below that 124.50 area, a decent chance we're going to 120, so we'll see. Canadian Pacific, kind of a rising three. Yesterday, not much, really very light volume. It's a little bit above, let's see, what do we got? 8 points of potential, but we're about a buck out. So it would have to pull back some first. And a few of these trades are like that. They've bounced above and they need to pull back a little bit before entry point is triggered. But with light volume on basically a flat day, wouldn't be surprising to see it pull back a little tomorrow. FANG. Another kind of ascending triangle. I forgot to draw that line. That's the thing. A lot of times I see these and just don't even pay attention to it. I forgot to draw all this stuff. I just went. Psst. Sometimes you get so used to seeing it, it's just kind of second nature. You just do it. That's the other thing with this is we had resistance here. So that was part of the reason I didn't do it is we've got a pretty solid resistance there, about 81.24. The target for the triangle itself is 11.69, which interestingly enough, as we know, a lot of stocks trade in channels, and that channel that it was in back here, that it could get back into here, is about half the distance to the actual target. So if it breaks out and heads to the top of the channel, the 81.25 area, then depending on what the action looks like, might only scale out of a part of it, because if it breaks out of that, the next target, naturally, not only from the pattern, but also from the channel part, it would be right up about here where the top of that is, which is about 87. So we'll see what that brings us. Home Depot, another one needs to pull back. It's been in this little sideways thing. This I believe we looked at a week or two ago. I think it was last week when it was in that little sideways move. So we've got kind of a V bottom, sideways, calmed down a little bit, and then it's rallied. But again, look at the volume. The volume on the sideways move is normal. The volume on the upward move relative to the bearish volume is pretty light. There's a couple of big days there, but so we'll see. McGraw-Hill, very similar to Home Depot, except it's still going sideways. But we do also have a double top. So we have a couple of different patterns here. One's bullish, one's bearish. I chose to look for the bearish one, and part of that was the fact that we had volume the last day there. On a down day, had decent volume. So as of right now, I'd say it's bearish. If it kind of dances around here and holds this 93.13 area, if it bounces off there a couple more times and shows bullishness, then this is one that might need to be flipped over. M&T Bank. Oh, so there's kind of an inverted head and shoulders. I'm just now seeing that, actually, interestingly enough. Seeing sometimes I miss things. put this on real quick and see, so I can see visually about what the target should be. That's about at the same right spot. Yeah, interestingly enough, there you go. So the inverted head and shoulders comes into play right about, the target is right about there. So this one could work out well. I'll see what the indicators look like. I know I haven't looked at all of them, but it's above the 50-day. The 200 days just started, so it's going to tell us much. Or wait, what? No, that's the line. Never mind. I'm sorry. Thick red. 200 days way up here. I was going to say this is a lot older company than that, but excuse me. So indicators look pretty bullish. So this one looks decent. We'll just have to see if it pulls back in the next day or two. So PACCAR, kind of a rising through methods. Not textbook, not perfect, but it's basically there. And so we'll see. There's a moderate resistance there. It was at 53, basically 54. So this is only, you're looking at $1.50, $2 of run there. And I'm looking at this as possibly a 1 to 2 day hit. A quick breakout to the upside, snag a little bit, take a little bit of profit out, and run with it. So very small range from entry to exit, stop out point, and because there's not a huge one to the target. So, but who knows? I mean, it could keep running too. I mean, it could do anything, but obviously we know that it's 50-50. But last but not least, though, Pioneer Natural Resources, big breakout yesterday. Big candle, but not a lot of volume. Basically just an average volume. And then a nice little doji harami pattern. Today's candle. And light volume. So we'll see what it brings. Hard to say. So that's it. Again, nothing terribly exciting. The market's just kind of blah. It's boring right now. And it's hard. It's hard to just sit on the sidelines and wait. Or try to find opportunities to look great. And there's none really here. There's some that look okay, that are decent, some that are pretty good, but nothing really that jumps off the screen at me and I go, I got to get in this. So there we have it. There's the big guys for this week, and we'll see how they play out and come back next week and do it again. Y'all take care. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.